Hi guys, boxing fans, this is Ben again, and I'd like to talk about the fight this Saturday in Newcastle here in England between Amir Khan and Dimitry Salita for the WBA Light-Welterweight Championship of the World. Now, I think this is going to be quite an entertaining fight. I think both guys are going to bring it. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of a technical demonstration of the art of boxing. Now, let's talk about both competitors. Let's talk about first the challenger, Dimitry Salita. He is schooled in a gym in New York, which has produced various fighters such as Zab Judah, Luis Collazo, Monty Barrett, among others. At least that's what Salita has said. He is quite confident, comes across very well in the interviews. Looking at his fights, looking at his record, he hasn't fought anyone of note. He hasn't even fought anyone that I had previously seen box. And I also found it quite difficult to get hold of footage of him fighting until quite recently. So only recently I've got to see what he's like. Now, he has an excellent left hook. He's very prominent with his left hand, and that could be quite worrying for Khan, because if you recall, Khan was floored by Michael Gomez with a left hand over the top. Also, he was floored by Prescott with a left hand that started it, and then a right which put him down, but it was actually a left hook which first wobbled Khan. So he seems to be susceptible to left hooks. So I'm sure Salita will try and exploit that. Now, Salita himself doesn't seem to have the best chin in the world. I've seen him wobbled a couple of times in the footage that I got of him. He's been down a couple of times. He's won all his fights but one, which he drew, in which he was floored twice. He's unbeaten, but again, if you look at his record, go to boxrec.com, you'll see he hasn't fought any notable names. Khan, on the other hand, let's talk about Khan. In my opinion, he's fought some pretty good fighters. Yes, he fought Barrera when Barrera was past his best, but he got the win, albeit in controversial circumstances. However, I believe he would have gone on to win that fight anyway, regardless of the cut. I thought he did an excellent job against Kotelnik. Kotelnik is not a big puncher, but he can take a big punch, and Khan just boxed him for 12 rounds. He never really got through, especially on Kotelnik's high guard, but he flew through flurries of shots which had Kotelnik befuddled, and which garnered up the points for him. He won that quite clearly by decision. Khan, I don't know if that fight was an indication of a change, and the change in his style. If you look at his previous fights before he joined Freddie Roach, he was more explosive and more willing to go toe-to-toe and trade. He now seems to be using more intelligence in terms of his defensive, the defensive side of his boxing. He's keeping his hands up very high, and he's only throwing the flurries once he's sure he won't get hit back. He did take a decent punch from Barrera. I think it was in the second round at the end of it. So although his defensive skills have improved, we still don't know what his chin will be like at 140 pounds. It may well be improving as well. We'll wait and see. I found a very interesting bet on Ladbrokes website here in the UK, 10 to 1, that Khan will be put down but will go on to win the fight, and I think that's a possibility. I still think he's susceptible to left hooks, which is possibly what Salita will hit him with. Salita looks to have quite fast hands, although he's not got fast feet, certainly not as fast as Khan, and he wouldn't have as fast hands as Khan. Khan has phenomenal hand speed, and he moves about great. But like I said, I expect this fight to be quite heavy on action. Don't underestimate the determination of a challenger like Salita, who desperately wants to become a world champion, just as desperately as Khan wanted to be in his fight with Kotelnik. I'm going for Khan all in all, possibly by late stoppage, say round 10, after having survived some dodgy moments, possibly a knockdown. And I'm going to put a few pounds on that 10-1 bet, just as you never know. Well guys, hope you enjoy the fight. It's on pay-per-view here in the UK, so we'll be having to fork out another £15 or so, but we're hardcore boxing fans, so we do it. Hope Frank Warren enjoys even more money, but he's a good promoter, all in all. However, I'll stop talking crap now because it's probably boring you. Enjoy the fight, and let's hope for some big action. Later.